Hi. Did Jesus Christ predict the coming of the comet planet Nibiru? Well, let's take a look at Revelation 6:12 to 17 and compare those directly with the scientific projections of what would happen if a body the size of Nibiru, which is 8 times the size of the Earth, possibly more, passed through our solar system. Okay, and let's see if that matches up with Jesus Christ's prophecy at the end of the world. It says here, I watched as he opened the 6th seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair, and the whole moon turned blood red. Let's take those parts first. There will be a great earthquake. If a body that size passes through our solar system, there will be a tremendous earthquake on this earth. There will be such an earthquake that, as Jesus said, not one stone shall be left on another. Now that would have to be a tremendous earthquake. Now let's get to that point in just one moment and how that will happen and just how huge it will be and why it will be that huge. It says that the sun turned black like sackcloth. Now all the volcanoes will erupt. Obviously there'll be a lot of seismic activity and the skies will be darkened because of the ash. But this planet may also this time travel between the sun and the earth, thereby causing a tremendous eclipse. And there's an important part here. Every part is important because these are the words of Jesus, but it says that the sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. Now that's a direct reference to Satan, so Satan is involved here. Then it says the whole moon turned blood red. Now this giant planet Nibiru is supposedly red, so if it caused an eclipse, its reflection will reflect off the moon, and that will reflect red. That would happen even if it was just the volcanoes erupting and blackening the sky. So whichever way you look at it, Jesus has told us what's going to happen so far. He's got it right, and science is catching up. Let's carry on. It then says the stars in the sky fell to earth. Now, with a planet this size, 8 times the size of the Earth, possibly more, it will attract every piece of debris and meteorites and so forth that are within our solar system towards it. And as they're travelling towards it, obviously it's moving away. They will be trailing along behind it, and they will hit anything in their path. Basically, the Earth will get hit by stars, if you like. In those days, they would have looked at a meteorite as a star. So, again, Jesus Christ has got that right as well. Then it carries on. The sky receded like a scroll. How's the sky going to recede like a scroll? Well, the scientific projections say that when this body passes through our solar system, it will realign our Earth. Poles will realign to the poles of this planet Nibiru. So here's my little planet here. Okay, big planet like Nibiru comes past, we will be pulled out of orbit and the Earth will tip. Now let's just go through that bit again. It says that the sky receded like a scroll. When the poles realign, the Earth will move like this. Imagine the earthquake firstly. It would be such an earthquake. Now you can imagine that not one stone would be left upon another. And also, the sky would recede like a scroll. So that bit fits as well. And every mountain and island was removed from its place. Well, obviously, if the Earth tips like this, okay, every mountain and every island will no longer be where it was. It will have moved. It will be in another place. And then it says that the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and every slave and every free man hid in caves amongst the rocks and mountains and called to the rocks, fall on us and save us. Hide us from the face of the one who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the day of their wrath has come. And who can stand? So God has predicted that they at that point will attribute the great destruction to him. He obviously prophesied correctly that people would take to going underground to try and save themselves. Governments all over the world have dug complexes under the earth to save the human race. They're talking about themselves, but they like to call themselves the human race. Now let's just take this another step further, because in another passage in Revelations 21:1, It says, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So let's just look at our planet one more time. Planet Nibiru comes, pulls us out of our usual orbit, and our poles realign. No longer would we be seeing the same perspective of the heavens and the stars and so forth. We would be seeing a new heaven, and the land mass of the earth would change. The waters would redistribute, so there would be a new earth. So a new heaven and a new earth. All of God's promises seem to be fulfilled in the scientific projections of what will happen if this planet Nibiru passes through our solar system as it seems it will do. Taking all of these things into account, for those of you who don't believe in Jesus Christ, perhaps it's time that you took a little bit of time to do what Jesus said. Seek and you will find. Because if this is correct, the end is coming. It's not far off. And only those who call upon the name of the Lord Jesus will be saved. Please make sure that you're one of them.
The launch of Pioneer 10 in 1972 ushers in the era of deep space exploration. The craft journeys beyond the outer known planets, sending back data that is used to seek a possible 10th planet.
14 August 1978, which is just about 6 weeks after we discovered the fact that Pluto has a satellite. Once you have a satellite for a planet, you can determine how heavy it is. It turns out Pluto is very much smaller and lighter weight than we had thought, which meant that Pluto has no influence, no appreciable influence on the motions of the planets Uranus and Neptune. At that point, we voiced the hypothesis that this means that there is at least one yet to be discovered planet in the outer reaches of the solar system.
Over the past 2 decades, physicists have joined astronomers in the search for the mysterious Planet X.
One of the things we did in 1978, having made this prediction that there was an additional planet, 10th or 12th, depending on your point of view, we sort of put our money where our mouth was, as it were, and we went out and started looking for this thing. We've been able to refine the search area somewhat, get it rather narrowed down. We do our predictions based on the observed anomalies in Uranus and Neptune. We actually are currently looking down in the region of Centaurus, which is just south of the constellation Libra. But if it is in the kind of orbit that we describe here, it would have to be a planet that would have a mass something like 3 to 5 times the mass of the Earth. This would put it intermediate between the gaseous planets like Uranus and Neptune and the terrestrial planets that we have in the inner part of the solar system. So if this planet turns out to be in a 3,600-year orbit, then its mass would be correspondingly larger.
St. Alphonsus Liguori goes on to say, scarcely 1 in 100,000 deathbed conversions is sincere. That's the math of St. Alphonsus Liguori. Scarcely 1 in 100,000 deathbed conversions is sincere. You can't plan on converting the day before you die. Do not mock God. And as St. Alphonsus goes on, who promised you tomorrow, nor even the rest of the night? The same God that is infinitely merciful to us when we beg forgiveness now is infinitely just when we die. And His wrath is so horrifying that the soul will leap into hell rather than to see the face of Christ again.
He said, if you found a cure for cancer, wouldn't it be inconceivable to hide it from the rest of mankind? Wouldn't it be criminal just to hide it? He says, how much more inconceivable to keep silent the cure of the eternal wages of death. Yet we do. Yet we do. So intimidated by what people might think.
But if we lose our battle with temptation, we know what our agony will be. Forevermore, the stench of hell will fill our nostrils. You will scream.